So what's up, Zoomies? Welcome back to the HVAC Zoomies podcast, hosted by Rhydon and Rachael. What an exciting event we just had in Austria as the old Red Bull Ring, and now we go to one of the most, if not the most famous Formula One circuit of all. Rachel, those 5 lights are going out.
And away we go. Oh, so good.
Then with the rest of the field. Silverstone week. It is also a very happy Canada Day to all of the members of the A-Team that are part of the Zoomy Nation. Thank you for listening. It's almost 4th of July for us United Statesians down here below you. So as we look overseas to our former founder, we hope that you put on a good show for us this weekend as we barbecue and drink beer and raise hell, praise Dale while you guys race around the Silverstone circuit. So So, yes, happy Canada Day, everybody. Happy Canada Day, co-host. I hope you enjoy your day in the Lazy Boy.
Well, I am, very much so. Bit of a rough day yesterday, so yeah, we're taking it easy today. Gonna enjoy some fireworks a little later.
Nice.
That was great, yeah.
So, normally we talk about HVAC news, but holidays that involve barbecuing and fireworks are much more important. So what are essentially, or what are the barbecue essentials for Canada Day?
Oh, see,
like Canada Day party planning 101.
Yeah, that's tough. It changes every year, but I mean, as we had previously discussed, burgers are always on the menu. Must.
Nice.
Yeah. Death row meal, burgers. It's happening. I would say, so I'm Indian. So there's always some sort of Indian barbecues, flavor happening.
Nice.
I usually will do some, tandoori chicken or something, on the grill. So it's just nice. Also, truth be told, it kind of stinks at my house, so I like barbecuing Indian food outside. That's what it is.
That's great.
That stuff gets aggressive.
It can. There are some aggressive seasonings and spices in the old Indian cuisine.
Yes. Well, I did a very quintessentially Canadian thing over the weekend. I went tubing down one of the big rivers around here with a friend, a couple of friends. And we had our little dry cooler or dry little raft boat dinghy thing. And we went cruising along the Grand River and then, went over for a barbecue. It was great. It just felt very, summer, very Canadian. It was lovely.
Well, and in true river float fashion, the cooler had its own float to make sure that there was ample cocktails available for the cruise.
Of course. So we were on the water for like 3 hours. It was awesome.
Now, do you guys get dropped off somewhere and then someone draws straws for who has to be the one that drives down and sets up the barbecue for you guys to
no we
3
did
hours later?
We did a buddy of ours, he lives like very close to the water, so we just went back to his house for the barbecue portion. But we dropped one car off at the end, and then all of us piled in and drove up to the start and hopped in.
I like it.
Yeah, it was great. It was perfect. It was a perfect way to spend a day.
So,
and then I went to the stock car races after that. So,
yes, which by the way, please tell us about those.
Well, I'm sponsoring a team, and it just so happened I've never really been into stock cars. I've never really gone, truthfully, and one of my customers, one of the guys that works there, his son is into stock cars and stock car racing. So he asked if I would sponsor the team. I said, well, sure. Seems like a good thing to do. Take my money. So, yeah, I sponsored a team. I'd never seen it before, never done it. But I know, I know dear old dad, he's a good guy. He was just doing it for the kids, So I was like, sure, why not? And we've gone out to a couple now. I think I'm going to be a staple around there. I'm absolutely sponsoring next year. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It is so fun and entertaining, and honestly, I loved it. So yeah, I've been sponsoring a team. I have my logo on 3 cars. They actually won one of the races this weekend. It was great. I loved it.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you get to watch, just tempers flying and people just like T-boning each other, and it was a great time.
Well, and speaking of tempers flaring, did Kristen
Ooh.
send you the video of Bowman Gray?
No, I don't
Oh my
think
gosh.
so.
I told her to send it to you. I'll have to get after her when she gets home.
Yeah.
So Kristen grew up going to Bowman Gray in Winston-Salem, which, if anyone's ever heard of the show Madhouse, I think it was on History Channel. It's about that place. It is like the Coliseum of Coliseums for short track racing. And she grew up going there every week as a kid. She used to know a lot of the people that were drivers, this, that, and the other. She still knows people that drive there to this day. But there was a bit of a bust up in the first race this past weekend. And like before it was all said and done, this one guy went running across the infield and like jumped up and like tried to karate kick the glass out of this other guy's car, like right in front of the main grandstand. It was fantastic.
Oh, so good. They just race with such heart.
Yeah, well, and I think some of it was, I feel like a guy kind of got called out for trying to cheat the system a little bit too. So he wasn't happy about that either.
Oof, fair.
And then, I used to go, Dad would take me probably maybe once a month for a couple of years when I was little. A guy that put in carpets that he was friends with had a go-kart race team, and they raced on a dirt track go-kart oval, like out in the mid, and I'm talking out in the middle of nowhere. It was like an hour down into the sticks of the western North Carolina mountains. The track's still there when you drive by it. I don't think it's been raced on in 20 years, but you can still see the embankments and where it would be if they ever set it back up again. But I remember going to that a lot as a kid, and then I had a cousin that dated a guy that loved dirt track racing, and there used to be a dirt track in Cherokee about 10 minutes from the house that we'd go to every now and then. So that was all the racing I really saw as a kid, outside of, going to it. I think the first time I went to a Coca-Cola 600, I don't even know, it might have still been called a World 600 by then. I'm not sure when the name change happened. I think I was 12 or 13 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And at the time, there were the extremely cheap seats were on the back straight on just like solid concrete shelves, and you just brought something to sit on with a cooler. And you sat out there and you roasted and got sunburnt for 6 hours during this race. But I remember my poor niece getting, so my niece is a couple years younger than me. I remember her getting a beer like dumped down the back of her shirt, like not even a quarter of the way through the race. I was like, that's going to be a long day.
Yeah.
And I think we were probably 11 and 13. We weren't very old. My nephew was 9. But I remember that race. It was so funny. I can't remember who won it, because when you're out there, you can hear stuff over the loudspeaker, but you don't know what the hell's going on really when you're that young. But it was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That would have probably been somewhere between 98, 99, I would guess, was when I was out there. Maybe a little younger.
Oh, just a little guy. Just a little Rye.
Just a little guy. A little guy's just barely a teenager. But yeah. Well, and
it is a lot of fun.
Well, I was gonna say, and talking about floating down the river.
Oh yes.
In a little Bryston City where I grew up, we have a place called Deep Creek, which is part of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It's 2 or 3 minutes from my dad's office, and it is like if you're gonna go tubing at some point in your life, you should go tube down, go tube down Deep Creek. Even in the summer, it's freaking cold. It's great.
Oh, lovely.
But spent so much time tubing down that as a kid. And, when you start out, when it all started, it was literally, it was inner tubes out of tires that no bottom, no nothing. You're just in this inner tube, hoping you don't like land weird and the valve stem like stab you somewhere that you don't want it to stab you. And then, they started getting creative and tying wooden bottoms into the bottom of these things. And then now you go through there and they have like fancy, like bought to suit, like tubing apparatuses and stuff. I'm like, man, this has gotten so advanced from back in the day.
It really has, but it's very nice because, if my butt doesn't get hit by a rock, because the parts of the Grand River can get a little shallow, and if I don't have to take a rock to the rump, that would be great.
Yep.
So now, I like the netted bottoms. Keep that safe.
Yep. I'm a big fan of the protected rear end on the old Deep Creek. Because you get those one or two like deep spots, but everything else is like shallow. You're almost hoping that it rained a few days before and there's a little extra water, so it keeps you from trundling through it all.
Well, we had some torrential downpours on the Friday, so like the day before, and torrential downpours. So that river was just motoring. We were going.
Nice and muddy.
Yeah, it was quite muddy. It was lovely though. I loved it. It was great. I'm not afraid. If I can't see it, nothing to be afraid of.
So, all right, so we've covered the essentials of Canada Day, and then in a few days we have July 4th, which for us typically involves potential British slurs and
I have to partake in July 4th.
Lots of 1776 memorabilia, loads of red, white, and blue. If you're not wearing red, white, and blue, what are you doing on the 4th of July? Some poor person out there doesn't know that they're probably going to lose a finger to some fireworks before this week is over.
Incredible.
It's a good old time. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some pool time on Friday at some point. I know the Blackstone's going to come back out that I finally used this weekend after 10 years of either being in the back of a closet or the back of a garage. It just finally emerged. My vintage Blackstone is now in service and ready to roll.
Oh, so proud. That's amazing.
Right.
I really do have to partake in a July 4th event because you hear about them all the time. It's such a big deal, and I get it. I understand. But I'm like, I need to see this in the flesh. I need to, partake in it.
Kristen had a friend that she had worked with at one point, and her husband's a pilot, and they live in this neighborhood just over the border into South Carolina. And we went down there maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I think it wasn't COVID year, but I think it was the year after.
Okay.
And in this neighborhood, there's one guy, and like he lives to put together like this 4th of July fireworks spectacle. And it's always like themed to music, like it's a whole production. And like he takes
all out.
He takes donations from like all the people in the neighborhood. Like he'll announce when he's going to do donations, and everybody from the neighborhood pitches in, and then he puts on this like half an hour plus fireworks show for the whole neighborhood every year.
I love this.
So, and I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure it was 2021, and it was one of the most humid, hot 4th of Julys that I can remember. And I mean, it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I mean, your clothes are just stuck to you. The humidity was so bad in this place. And I remember just standing out there. I think I chugged 3 beers in like 30 minutes trying to sit there to watch this show to stay hydrated, which beer doesn't hydrate you, but it works good in your head.
I mean, yeah. It's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah,
Ice cold.
temperature control.
Yeah, multiple cold domestic. But yeah, I'm excited for a long weekend. It's always a good time. And we've still not been in our neighborhood we're in for 2 years yet. So this will be our second 4th of July here. So it's curious to kind of see if there's anything new going to happen in the community. I don't know. We'll see how packed the pool is. Hopefully it's not too crazy.
Well, this sounds like a perfect way to spend a holiday. And you guys are lucky you got it on a Friday, so that's nice.
Yeah, we get
July
4th
3 days on a Friday.
3 days to be destroyed, to come back strong on a Monday.
Now here, Canada Day's on the Tuesday, so a bunch of us had to work, the Monday, and then we get the Tuesday off, which is fine. But a lot of people were smart and took the Monday off and just had a beautiful 4-day week or weekend.
Yeah, right?
Yes, that would have been the smart thing to do.
Well, now that my mouth is watering and I want a beer
and a burger,
maybe a dog or two, maybe some beer cheese dip.
Ooh.
Yep. Yeah. So
you just got a couple more days to go, little buddy. Hang in there.
Yep, a few more days. So, speaking of other things that are a few days away, we it's a quick turnaround again for the old Formula One calendar. This coming weekend is Silverstone. But before we get to that, I guess we need to talk about everything that happened at the Red Bull Ring in Austria this past weekend. Having grown up in a family HVAC business, I know firsthand what it is like to have hired someone that you had to train for weeks just to get them up to speed. But what if they came trained, certified, and ready to work on day one? That's what Apprentice Now is all about, providing contractors and businesses with employees that are trained first so that you can hire right. If you want to know more about what Apprentice Now can do to help you and your HVAC business hire quality new technicians and installers, visit hvacrnd.com, check out the vendor hub, and click the Apprentice Now link to get started today.
Just fantastic.
Fantastic.
It was so good.
So that I don't screw this up again, I guess we should go through our predictions first and then open the discussion, since for the last 2 episodes I keep forgetting to bring those up.
Yes, I didn't do well at all with this. I didn't do well at all. I think I got a big old goose egg on these.
No, I think you got at least a point. So my predictions were Max full send, which technically, he floored it. He floored it.
They all floored it. It was
I know, right? I know, right? So we definitely don't get that. Prediction 2 was a wreck at turn 3. Well, called that one.
Yeah.
And then my third prediction was that the Orange Army would play the Max Verstappen song on somebody's loudspeaker at some point.
That did happen.
I did hear some echoes. Of
they would have been short-lived.
It was very short-lived. But, so at least I got the wreck at turn 3.
Yeah.
Got one for the books. And then Rachel's predictions. Max gets suspended. Nope. Luckily, Max was not the cause of this one, so he will escape the race ban. I think he's good.
Yeah. He didn't get a chance to get suspended.
Yep. Right. Safety car had an impact. Well, technically, the safety car was out before lap 1 was even over, so I consider that a safety car impact.
Yes.
Williams top 10. No. Unfortunately, the Williams boys had a rough day. Now, I will give Carlos a top 10 for best brake fire in the Australian pit box.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
Yep.
Or
Let's
pit lane, excuse me. But yeah, so
that was awesome.
Yeah, not the greatest week of predictions for us. So, as it happened, crazy opening lap. Carlos couldn't even get off the grid initially. And then
Yeah.
he gets it around the grid, has to go down pit lane, and then his brakes absolutely just burst into flames on his back axle. And he's sitting
Both. It
there
was awesome.
sitting there about to be his own little F1 barbecue in Austria.
How sweet.
And then, they get him extinguished and put back in the garage. I had a full grid reset. And then lights go out. We get to turn 3, and little Kimi Antonelli is a little bit late on the brakes, locks up his back axle, and then runs straight into Max.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
So,
pretty epic. Considering
then,
the relationship between those two, I thought that was pretty funny.
yep. Well, and then, Max said a few choice words before he knew who had hit him, I think, initially. And then, you see him get out of the car, and he's kind of like, okay, yep.
Take
Poor
it all
little,
back.
Yep, I'll take it back. Now, if it had been George, we might have seen some
Oh,
fisticuffs.
yes. 100%.
But
Yes.
how can you not love little Kimmy? Everybody loves
Oh
little
my
Kimmy.
God. He's just the cutest thing.
Plus, the way the rumor mill is going these days after this, I mean, Max might not necessarily want to, be mean to his potential future teammate. I have no idea.
No kidding.
There's a lot of rumors going around at the moment because
Oh, it's incredible.
looks like the old exit clause is about to get triggered at the rate things are going.
I love this time of year.
Yep, silly season is kicking off. So, the rest of the race, McLaren essentially in a class of their own. Oscar kind of got made a steer. They clipped him a little bit because I think he might have had some chances here and there. But this was Lando's race. Lando was going to win it. He
It
showed up with the right.
was.
Yeah, he showed up with the right attitude for the weekend. He didn't even participate in practice 1. But he crushed it in practice 2, practice 3, absolutely blew people away in qualifying, and then about did the same for the race.
He was so dominant in qualifying. It was crazy.
Now, to be fair, Max and Oscar both got kind of screwed in qualifying thanks to Pierre's 1080 pirouette in the last corner. So their hot laps for the last of qualifying were kind of jacked up. Now, had Max not started in 7th, I don't think he would have been the victim of taking, a silver arrow in the side.
Yes.
Turn 3.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
So, is what it is. Lando made the most of the weekend. Oscar, I think, probably could have fought more. I just think he was kind of told to keep cool as jets.
Yeah. Even when they were duking it out a little bit, you saw that there was a lot of space. They respected each other's boundaries. They were just pushing the cars, and so that was kind of nice. They learned from their mistakes. Those two, more so obviously Norris, but I thought it was good, clean racing in the in the front. So it was nice to see that. And honestly, you got to give it up to little Lando because racing as tight as it was with Oscar, he didn't get in his head for once because you can watch it. You can watch it every race on the screen, and it's so painful because he's just defeated in his own head. So it was good.
I know.
It was good that he kept his cool.
It was good to see Lando show up with, a non-defeatist attitude.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was really some entertaining driving.
And then Ferrari kind of taking advantage of the situation. Charles and Lewis made the most of it. I know we haven't really ran through full race results, but the Ferraris gained some ground. George had a good showing but I
Yep.
don't feel like he really ever got it going. I mean, he barely was not lapped. Um,
Yeah, it was
McLarens were just
actually,
flying.
yeah, they were. It was pretty surprising at how, for one, how far ahead McLaren was, but how many guys got lapped? It was
Yeah,
crazy.
yep. So McLaren
I
was
feel
way
like
out
we
in
usually
front.
don't see that
Not
at
not to
this
that
pace.
level, because I mean, everybody up to Fernando in seventh got lapped,
Right.
and Liam was probably a lap or two away from getting lapped, maybe less,
Hmm.
because they were hot on behind him, and George wasn't far up the road in front of him. So
Yeah.
it was almost a tale of, the McLarens were in one class.
Yes.
I think Max would have been somewhere in between them and the Ferraris, and the Ferraris were kind of in their own little world, and then everybody else was behind them.
Yep.
It
Yeah. Which
was,
is which is a nice change of pace.
and then the big standout of the day was, Gabriel Bortoleto qualified eighth. He finished eighth.
He did
Nico
so
Hulkenberg got
great.
himself into ninth. Um, I I can't really think of, and they may have mentioned it in the race. Like, I don't know the last time that two Saubers got it into the top 10.
I don't know. I
I
don't.
mean,
I
I
don't know.
honestly can't think of it ever happening before
No,
that I know of. At
no,
least
it was
not
great
in
to
recent
watch.
years at all. And then the Haas boys right behind them. So Esteban and Ollie were in 10th and 11th. It was, we totally skipped him, but Liam finishing in sixth. Obviously, that's his best performance with Racing Bulls
Huge.
at
Yep.
all, which was a huge success for him.
Hmm.
Um, Hajar finished in 12th, Gasly in 13th, Lance Stroll 14th, Franco Colapinto and Yuki Tsunoda and all of their
Yuki
antics
had
in
a rough
15th and
day.
16th. I hate to say it, but I feel like Yuki is the next victim to be broken by Red Bull seat number 2.
I know.
Uh,
I know, but who would you replace him with?
that's the kicker. There's really
Yeah.
no one to replace him with at this point. I think Red Bull at this point they've got to do everything they can to try to keep Max competitive, but even at this point I think the title's gone for him too.
Yep.
But if they don't try to keep him competitive, it's a good chance he's out the door. Where
Yeah.
he's going to go, not sure. I don't
I
know.
know.
Hell,
I know. He had a rough time.
there's also, the swirling question that we've heard time and time again that he'll just retire and get away from it for a little bit, kind of like Fernando did.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Fernando is always the gentleman. Did you see his interaction with Bortoleto at the end of the
Well, I mean,
race?
he's
They're
also
so
Bortoleto's manager, so he better be happy
yeah.
about it.
Well, yeah. It was awesome. It was just so cute. I was like, "Oh, you guys, stop." Yeah.
Well, and that race and team and camaraderie that plays into something else we haven't even talked about yet is the F1 movie. Oh
Don't.
man, I won't give you any spoilers, but went and saw it in the Dolby Theater on Sunday. It's fantastic. It's better than I expected it to be. It's like, it gives me, Ford versus Ferrari was a fantastic
It was such a good
racing
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
This is on par. I really think it is. And
That's a
it's
tall
it's
order.
it is it's good. It's done. You can tell Lewis had a lot of impact because a lot of the stuff that happens is really realistic. I think there's some stuff that obviously it was Hollywooded up.
Hmm.
We know how that is, but it was really well done. It was really well done.
Yeah.
I think
I
I
can't
think it's
wait.
I think it's open to potentially have a sequel. Potentially, I'm just not sure where they would go with the story part of it. But I think there's potential for a sequel. At the same time, with stuff like that, you also, do you want it to have a sequel and potentially ruin it?
Ruin it. Yep. Nah.
So I don't know. But, you know, I think it's one of Brad Pitt's best performances.
Well, that is also a tall order
That's
there.
a
My
tall order
gosh.
too,
Really?
but he played the shit out of that character. He did a very good job.
Yeah, he's a good actor. I'm
Good
pretty.
actor.
That's yeah, yeah.
Also, the one of my favorite parts of the movies was there was one part when someone says he's easy on the eyes talking about Brad Pitt, and there was a little old lady sitting next to me, and under her breath you could hear her go, "Oh yes, he is," and I about fell out of my chair laughing.
I love that.
It was great. So this is probably the most packed theater we've been in, and Chris and I are movie people. We go to movies a lot.
Yeah, so are
We're
Sebby and I.
we're A list, like AMC A list members, so we can go to hell. We could go to 3 movies a week if we wanted to. Don't have
Wow.
time for that, but I mean,
Nope.
hell, it's $20 a month. Shit, if you go to one movie, you're going to spend that. This way,
Exactly.
you can go to as many as you can get into and have time to go for a month. If you see 2 movies, it pays for itself. Plus, you
Exactly.
get
Yeah.
additional discounts on the overpriced popcorn and snacks and
The
drinks, so that helps
condiments
too,
is
right? Which we like to do back to back movies on a Sunday or Saturday. Preferably, we'll
lovely.
pick like the long ones so that you get the most out of your drink and popcorn refills. I'm not a
So
fat kid at
smart.
all.
That's such smart thinking.
Um, so, and speaking of getting your popcorn out, it's British Grand Prix week. Since 1961, JP Lamborn Company has been the name behind some of the best flexible duct products in the business. A third-generation family-owned company that built its legacy on integrity, innovation, and service. That same spirit drives them today, with antimicrobial technology, top-tier materials, and a relentless focus on quality. When contractors need a product they can stand behind, JPL delivers. It's more than just flex duct, it's peace of mind. JPL, the name you know, the quality you trust, and the flex that delivers. So we're going to Silverstone, the original Grand Prix, first GP in 1950. You know, I think there's going to be some cool 75-year for Formula One stuff this weekend. I hope, which will be
I hope
interesting.
so. Yeah.
18 turns, 52 laps, 2 DRS zones, and a heap of straights and turns for the ages. Max still holds the lap record from 2020 at 1 minute and 27 seconds and almost 10 hundredths of a second. So a 127.097 lap record. Tires for the weekend, C2, 3, and 4. So upper middle side of the range, probably a 2-stop at least.
Yeah.
Heavy tire stress, struggles with grip, high lateral G's, high downforce stuff because it's super fast paced track. So it's always a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
If it's one of those, if you could pick the ones to go to, it's in the top 5.
This is
Easy.
yes, 100%. This
Top
might be
3
the
probably.
race I will go to at some point.
Ooh, Zoomies trip.
I think we have to.
We should.
Yeah.
So, you know, the first real question of this upcoming weekend is the title fight for Max? Is it truly done and dusted? Is it now just race your ass off and do the best you can every single race knowing that the title's gone? Or do you still, you know, it's almost midpoint of the season. There's still time for a lot of crazy stuff to happen.
For sure.
I think the likelihood of the title is gone, but I think you still have to treat it like it's on the table until we're a little further down the road. Or
I don't know
unless
if Max can stop, right?
he
I don't
can't.
know if he
I don't want him to
can
stop.
turn that off. No, that's what makes him Max.
That's right.
Oh, I'll
He
get
will
it.
have GP back this week. He did not get to make use of of Danny Rick's former race engineer this past week because he couldn't get past turn 3. So he'll have Old Faithful GP back in the seat with him.
Nice. That'll be good.
So they
I love the also little side note, all the Danny Rick stuff that keeps popping up about Danny Rick coming back. I love that. I love it. I love that
just
they,
love Danny Rick.
F1 Nation just won't let him go, and I
We
love. I'm
can't
here for
because
it.
we
I
didn't get to send him. None of us got to send him off the way we wanted to send him off.
know. I know. I know.
It's like it feels bad. It's like someone just took your prize racehorse and walked him around behind the barn and shot him, and you didn't get to say goodbye. That's kind of how it feels.
That's so dramatic, but I'm here for
That's
it.
what it feels like.
Yeah. So I mean, that would just to bring Danny Rick back a bit. That would be nice. Maybe put him in Yuki's seat for a little bit. Just saying.
Uh, I know, but then at the same time, it's like, oh well, let's just. That almost makes it feel like you're bringing him back in just to rub salt in the wound.
Probably.
I hate to say it, but I
Well,
almost feel like if he's gonna come back, he's got to start over. And I don't know if he's at the point now that he wants to start completely over with a team that doesn't know what they're doing yet. I
right.
don't know where the seat would come for him next year. I know he's not going to want to be a third driver. He's not going to want to do that. You
No.
know,
No.
Valtteri's doing everything he can to make sure he's got a
I
seat
want to
next
see
year
Valtteri
because
come back.
I
Yeah.
want to see Valtteri come back too.
Oh,
Because now his third driver social media posts are freaking hilarious.
so good.
He's the last couple of years you've seen him come out of his shell and just
Yeah.
be himself, and it's so funny. I wish he would have been that way his entire career. Hell, he might have tipped Lewis to a few more victories if he was just being
Yeah.
himself back in the day.
It was so good. It's yeah, he's finally out of that second driver kind of spell, right? Where he's showing himself. He's out there. And it's so fun. It's so fun to watch. I hope he comes back. He's such a remarkable driver.
I do too. I think there's more likelihood of Valtteri being on the grid next year than Danny Rick.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
But
the rumors are still out there, and I'm here
now,
for it. Keep it
could
coming.
could you see? The dream would be if the two of them were on a team together. If we had the Aussie and the wannabe Aussie
Yeah,
racing for
exactly.
Cadillac or something would be hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, that would be great. And I mean, they're both excellent drivers. Why not?
Well, and talking about well planned media things, that was the other thing that the old F1 movie did real well because the opening race of the movie is Silverstone. So it
Oh,
comes out the week before the next
Silverstone.
race is Silverstone. I give them that too. Well done marketing, guys.
So smart. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Um,
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I'll have to see it soon because now we have so much to discuss.
hell, I wonder what time the earliest showing is on July 4th. Shit, I'll go watch it again.
I'll go watch it again.
I would. It's good. I love a good
Yeah.
racing movie. Trying to think. So I had seen where someone had ranked racing movies the other day. And it was like Ford versus Ferrari, Grand Prix, Rush, and then Days of Thunder, and then something else. They were like ranking the best racing movies, and it's a F1 article. And they didn't even rank the F1 movie in this whole rank of 15 movies. I was like, so
What?
is this you saying this is what you think are the best movies before you go see it? Because it's not
Mm,
the way your clickbaity title read to me.
right.
Damn you, clickbait artists. Get me every time.
I know. Same.
So Silverstone. Max has got a
Yes.
race like his title depends on it because now every race it does, if he's got a prayer, he's got to go deliver. What are we thinking McLaren wise? Is Lando going to show up and put his foot back down, or is Oscar going to try to just reclaim his throne, which
Oscar's coming for him for sure, but I hope this is enough with it being Lando's home race, and yeah, I think this will be enough to catapult Lando into the top spot, or at
well, and
least
this is
get
trying to
closer.
think, how many actual British drivers do we have on the grid for this one? Is it 3? Lewis, George, and Lando. Am I missing a Brit somewhere?
No, I
The missing Brit.
think that's it.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 Brits on the grid.
And I mean, Lewis spent many years being the fan favorite there, but
Yep.
this is Lando's turn.
And he's and Lewis is gonna be a fan favorite for a long time.
Oh,
He
of
just
course.
is. He just is.
Yep.
And he always shows up for this one. He always shows up for this race. So I'm curious to see.
He does, yes.
I'm
Out of
curious
nowhere.
to see what he can do with this Ferrari, even though it looks like they're improving a little bit the last couple races. So I haven't looked to see who's bringing upgrades, if anybody's bringing a Silverstone package, but it'll be curious to see where he can fight to. This might be one of those races where he's got to try to finish in front of Charles.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs to. I think he needs to continue to put that one right as best he can. I did see some stuff that came out from Charles this week, just talking about how he said after working with Lewis and driving with Lewis, he said Lewis is the greatest driver to ever live.
Wow.
So I've seen some very high praise for Lewis from Charles.
Yeah, Lewis
Which, I mean,
is an incredible driver.
You've got a 7-time world champion, is essentially your second driver. You got to kiss the ring every now and then, right?
Oh, for sure.
I think George will do well, but I still think that Merc has just not figured itself out yet. They're so up and down, and Kimi just needs to finish a race.
I'd like to see Kimi get back to the early season Kimi.
Yeah, and I mean, we thought we got early season Kimi back last week, and then it just fell apart on him again. But I mean, he's an 18-year-old rookie in the world's most competitive racing sport. What do you expect?
Yeah.
But he needs to quit wrecking cars, because I know Toto is not happy.
No.
I think the first time he wrecked earlier this season, he was like, "It's okay, Kimi," and now you could just be like, he probably doesn't want to keep saying that. At some point, stop wrecking my car.
Yeah.
Williams home race, which, I mean, this is a home race for a lot of teams, more than it is drivers. But Williams desperately need a good weekend,
especially after last weekend. So bad.
Yep, and 2 DNFs in a row for poor Alex. It's
and they have a great car. Let's show it off.
They do have a great car, and this is a fast track. It's going to be the maggots
it's a good track for them.
Of the corners, it's what's going to see them make or break.
Yeah. I'm also not counting out Sauber. Sauber's been incredible, like, in the last few races. Like, I think they can come and compete with the big boys very soon.
I think there's potential now. If they show up and they find a way into the top 10 of this one too, I think they will have been one of the more impressive turnarounds we've seen before the midway point of a season. Now we just got to hope that they don't have an upgrade that takes them backwards again.
Yeah.
Or depending on what the other teams bring, they may go backwards anyway. So I don't know. Alpine, Red Bull, they're still struggling. Now Liam put in, like I said, put in a great performance. Hajar put in an okay performance. I think I think those guys have that car more dialed in. The Red Bull's got their second car dialed in, obviously.
Yep.
So we'll see.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the rise of Hajar, because I think he's got so much potential, and I'm just waiting for it. I know it's coming.
Sounds like a Star Wars movie.
It really does. It's incredible.
And And then, Fernando quietly staying in the top 10.
What a guy.
We'll see what happens with the old Aston Martin for their home race too.
Yeah.
Lance needs to get himself back together again because he is slipping a lot lately.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the rumors are going, about him losing his seat. Let's see. Let's see what happens.
So, bold predictions for the British Grand Prix. I went first last week.
Tough.
It's your turn.
No.
And while you think about that, we'll go through overall season bold predictions and where we're at. So, again, Lewis was the first to win in red for me. A Williams podium. It's still out there. Who knows? Maybe this is the weekend. Could you imagine a Williams podium at Silverstone?
This goes against me winning this overall prediction thing, but I'd love to see that.
How awesome would it be?
It really would, especially here. Yes, of course.
Yep. Piastri is search dominant. I think, depending on how he does this race, that will definitely cement that one.
But this one's already cemented regardless. Like
I know, but
he's been incredible.
There's still time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lando continues bad starts. We'll see. He did well.
He did very well.
He did very well in Austria,
and under pressure.
Under lots of pressure. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Merck struggles. Ugh.
Oh.
I think if we get one more wreck from those guys, I'll just give that one to you anyway. And then a Yuki podium.
Yeah.
Yuki, you're going the wrong way, buddy.
I know.
Going the wrong way. So, bold prediction number 1. What's up, trade crew? You've heard the buzz. You've seen the press gang at every single AHR. Contractors across the country are ditching their torches for RLS press fittings, and they're not looking back. Why? Because RLS lets you finish faster, safer, and cleaner. From rooftops to mechanical rooms, crawl spaces, and attics, it's a press-and-go solution that's leak-tested, UL recognized, and proudly made in America. Make the switch to RLS and take the heat out of your installs, literally. RLS, rapid locking system, press forward and press on.
Yeah, so I can't say Lando's gonna win because I feel like it's gonna be Lando
or whatever you want.
No.
You can say whatever you want, Rachel.
No.
The world is your
Lando
Grand Prix oyster.
I think I'm gonna say one of the Saubers end up in top 10 again. I think they've got some good. 10. I think they've got some good momentum, and I'd like to see them continue that.
Sauber top 10. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a crazy chance of a Lewis podium because it's Silverstone.
Because it's Silverstone, yes. I'm gonna go kind of the opposite way, and I'm gonna say because Ferrari strategy comes in at the most inopportune times.
It comes in during the race. That is when they have their strategy planning during the race. They don't have a meeting before. They're drinking espresso.
I think their strategy is going to cost them in this race. Yeah, because they really haven't figured anything out.
No,
I don't understand. You have so many people.
Yep, Ferrari strategy costs them points. Oh.
I know.
I think... God, I don't know what to say for this one. This one's tough. I want to say that the gloves come off and the McLarens wreck each other out. But but I don't know.
I think honestly, I think the opposite because based on how they battled on the last race, I think they understand that that is not an option.
Papaya rules, please. Papaya
Yes.
rules.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say McLaren's
Do it.
fight fair.
Okay. I'll allow that.
No, screw it. McLaren's wreck each other. Full send. Max didn't get to go full send. Now, if they wreck each other out, I think Max wins this race.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then they're toast. Then Max is back in the running.
McLaren's wreck out, Max wins. There we go. There's your bold prediction for the weekend.
Oh, that is. Gosh. That was my Max gets
Lewis
suspended
podium.
one.
Lewis podium. McLaren's wreck each other out, and Max gets 25 points back. And then
Wow.
the title fight is on.
That is
All right, what's your
something.
third one?
Oh, God, how am I supposed to follow that? This is so tough. You know what? I can't count out George. I think George is going to go top 3.
Ooh.
It's a home race. George is extremely consistent.
Jorge Russell
Yeah.
on the top 3.
Yeah.
George top 3. Nice.
Yeah. I
Now-
think it's a home race. I think he's still riding high.
What if it was a British 1, 2, 3, like Lando,
Ooh.
Lewis, George? Now that would be interesting.
That would be. Well, you have to make a little side note for that. That's like
a side
joint
bet.
Yeah.
Look, if
Yeah.
we were sponsored by MGM, that would be the side bet for the week.
Yeah, it has to. It
Brought
has
to you
go
by
in there.
BetMGM or DraftKings or whatever you want to call this. We're going for an all British podium.
I think it was more apparent this year than most, but racing in your home race plays so heavily on how well they do. Like they all just pull out all the stops for their home race, and I'm like, why can't
Yeah.
you do this in
Right.
somewhere else?
Which,
Canada.
granted, it probably there are certain tracks where it's probably a little easier to
Well, they know the tracks
to
so
let her
well.
fly,
Yeah,
but
no, that's awesome. Love it.
it was I don't know. It's going to be an interesting week.
I love how I'd like to look at our our predictions for each race from the beginning when we played it pretty safe, and now we're just like making these wild claims.
I'm trying to think. So when is the actual like midpoint of our season? Because we have is it 24 races this year? So Britain's round 12. So after this race, we've got
going to summer holidays.
Most of July is a pretty long break. So we don't have round 13 is Belgium, but that's not until July 25th through 27th. So we get about a 3-week break. I feel like we should do a mid-season. We'll do a mid-season show, and I'll actually tally up our damn points, and we'll see where we are as we go into the second half.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun. Yeah, we haven't figured out any of the points yet.
No,
I feel like I'm losing terribly.
I don't think so. We've definitely figured out. I think we've definitely figured out our show though, because these last two just feel good. They feel good.
Yeah,
just feel good.
Yeah, it does.
So, well, there you have it, Zoomy Nation. Bold predictions are in for the British Grand Prix. I'm going for a Lewis podium, a McLaren wreck out, and Max taking full victory and getting himself back into the title fight. And Rachel is going to see someone from the Sauber boys stay in the top 10. Ferrari strategy is going to screw him over, and George is getting on the podium. So, in side bet on Tuesday, an all British podium. We shall see.
That would be so entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. Which you got to think about how much stuff has got to go wrong or how much has got to go right for those people. uh,
Yeah,
for that to
yeah.
actually happen. So,
I know.
well, thanks for listening to this latest episode of the HVAC Zoomies, hosted by HVAC R&D and led by your favorites, HVAC Rhino and HVAC Rach. Thank you so much for listening to us. Everyone, please go make sure to follow HVAC Zoomies online on Instagram at HVAC Zoomies, on Facebook and LinkedIn as the HVAC Zoomies Podcast. Again, make sure to follow me, HVAC_Rhino, and Miss Rachel as HVAC Rach. If you're not following our host show, HVAC R&D online, you can find them on Instagram and TikTok at HVAC.R&D, on LinkedIn, Trade Hounds, and Facebook as the HVAC R&D Podcast. Thank you for listening to the show on your favorite platform, whatever it may be. Please make sure to smash and like that subscribe button to follow the show. Like us, rate us, leave us a review, leave us a comment, share us with your friends and your trade crew. Go check out hvacrnd.com and visit the vendor hub and the swag shop. And you can also find out more information about our sponsors, AC Products USA, Apprentice Now, JPL Flexible Duct, and RLS Rapid Locking System, as well as enjoy discounts from BetterHelp, Chirp, Service Titan, and SkillCat. If you'd like to work with us or join the show, please click the link to the podcast questionnaire in the episode description on your streaming channel, or go find it on social media. So have an amazing Canada Day. Have a great 4th of July weekend. Enjoy Silverstone. And just have a good old time out there and stay safe, Zoomy Nation and Trade Crew. Zoomies out. Peace.